What's going on, YouTube and fellow pipe smokers? Today I'm out here at Pymatuning State Park out in Linesville, PA. Here at the Spillway, for those that are familiar with the area. Those that aren't, you could probably look it up on Apple or Google Maps. I'm sure it will pop up. I'm out here today kind of for somewhere different. I was in the area. I've never seen this place in the wintertime. For most, this is a summertime attraction. Right here in this spot, this lake is riddled with carp. And during the summertime, there's a stand behind me. They sell old bread and stuff like that, and you can come here and buy bread and feed the carp. There are a few restaurants in the area, so usually it's a before or after spot from the restaurant, somewhere that you can come and hang out with family for a little bit longer and do something different than just sit in a restaurant. But I've never seen it in the wintertime, and the lake's partially frozen over, so I figured I'd come here and see how different it looked. And it looks beautiful seeing this place in the wintertime, but it really doesn't look any different than any other lake in the wintertime. So. The pipe I'm smoking out of today is a Weber pipe that my mom got me a few months back at an estate sale. I got to start hitting those places up more to try to find some new pipes. I'm smoking Sir Walter Raleigh out of it. This stem is a little tight for the brand pipe cleaners I use, so I can't smoke any goopy aromatics in it or anything like that. Otherwise, I'm going to have a heck of a time getting the pipe cleaner down in it. So I usually try to stick to some blends that I know don't leave a ton of moisture at the bottom of the bowl. That way I don't got to fuss with it too much. So that's why I'm smoking Sir Walter Raleigh today, which there's a tiny bit of moisture in it right now, but I'm not worried about it. I've been coming across some adventure channels on YouTube lately, and it's been real interesting to kind of sit and watch some of these and kind of deal with my my thoughts and feelings in watching them. Now, I have this plan. When I turn 25, I'm going to take at least a year off of work, hopefully, God willing, of course. I'm going to take a year or so off of work, and I'm going to travel the country and maybe even explore some parts over in Europe. I have a whole plan and save up a certain amount of money, get the car paid off, stuff like that, and, get the car set up to be able to travel and kind of live out of my car for, at least a year. I'm right by a road, in case you couldn't tell. My plan is to start this trip in March of 2027 and let it run a year. But coming across these adventure channels, I've been coming across a ton of people that are doing something similar to an extent. They're not traveling for the whole year, or, really anything to that sort, but they are traveling. They're getting together with family or by themselves, and they're just going out and exploring. They're taking a week or two off, just getting out there, seeing the world. And it's very interesting watching these videos because, I do a lot of traveling, I do a lot of exploring, but this whole plan is centered around, having everything kind of fall into place, doing all this preparation for it, and watching these people do it on YouTube. I'm just catching them in that moment while they're doing their travels. So I'm not seeing any of the build-up, any of the preparation. I don't know any of the work that went into it, whether there was, a couple weeks or a couple months worth of saving up money to do these trips that these people are going on and all this stuff. And it's really... It's neat watching these people take these trips. It's amazing. It really motivates me to get out there and do it myself here in a couple years and continuously throughout the next couple years. But there's almost like an imposter syndrome for me watching these videos, because the stuff that they're doing is what I long to do and plan on doing, but I don't really have I do have the capability to do it now, but I don't have the setup to do it right now. So it's like watching people achieve my goals on YouTube right now feels very strange. I watched one the other day. There was a girl and her dad. They traveled all over Vancouver. I think it was Vancouver Island. I'm not too familiar. I don't remember. It was a few days ago. Don't remember perfectly off the top of my head, but they went from one part of this island to the northern part, and it was 200 and some kilometers or something like that, which I don't know what that translates to in miles, but they took 6 days, no phones. That was the title of the video. 6 days, no phones. And that's what they did. They traveled, they sightseed, they did all this cool stuff, which is exactly what I plan on doing here in a couple of years, just, more than 6 days. And seeing them do that, watching them do that rather, was, very, because it made me think of, I've come across several where people are out exploring, doing all this cool stuff, and it just makes me think, what's it going to be like when I'm able to actually do this? When I plan on sitting down and recording these little clips for all these videos that I plan on making for my travels and all this stuff. And, are other people going to feel the same way that I feel now watching my videos? Or, did they feel, the people that made the video, did they feel the same way watching other people do the same thing? Because it is almost like, it's not like a jealousness of any sort, because I fully intend to, make these plans happen. So there's no jealousy, because I'm, half assuming they're just going to come to fruition because I'm putting the work in for it. But there's a real, almost like maybe an inadequate feeling that you could describe it as, because I haven't reached the goals that I plan on reaching, whereas they probably have reached the goals that they planned on making. It's just it's a weird feeling. I don't really know how to describe it. But I love watching videos like that. And it's the same with, I watch a couple different guys on here that, do the pipe smoking stuff, and they show their cellars off, or, they show their pipe collections, and, they're night and day compared to what I have a small collection, but I've only been doing this, like a year and a half, 2 years, whereas some of these other guys I'm watching have been doing it 15, 20 years, 10, 15, 20 years. So obviously they're going to have a much wider cellar, a bigger pipe collection than I have. But it's still a weird feeling. It's like an imposter syndrome, really. You're watching it and you're like, man, am I going to get there? Is that what, the future kind of holds for me if I keep up with this? This is what it's going to look like, to an extent. And it's the same way with these older guys that give advice on their channels. That's why I started this whole thing, in part. To be able to sit down, record a video, and kind of give my views and thoughts on the world, and see if it can help anybody else figure out their own image of themselves in the world. And most of these people I watch have, 10, 15, 20 years experience just in life on it. So some of the wisdoms and stories that they're telling, I can't even fathom having that, because I've only, been alive almost 23 years. I've really only been doing this stuff for, 2 going on 3 years. So watching from a much smaller perspective, a much smaller point of view, to some of these bigger channels, and it doesn't really have anything to do with their follower count or anything like that. I don't really pay any attention to that, but just seeing other people do it right now, knowing that that's my intent with this, it's very strange. And that's the only way I can really think to describe it, is an imposter syndrome. Because the content I'm seeing from these channels now is the content that I plan to make, what I would like to make now, really, and I kind of do to an extent. but moving forward into the future as well. I don't know, just interesting. Something that's been on my mind a little bit lately. This is the first sunny day we've had in what feels like weeks, so it feels real good to be out here. Sun beating down on me. I stopped at a restaurant bar here up the road just a tiny bit, not even a mile up the road. It's called the Crooked Paddle. It's a great place. Great food, great atmosphere. I stopped in, came to get a gift card for somebody. I won't say who in case they watch this video before they get the gift card. While I was pulling in, I remembered I saw this Anthony Bourdain quote. I've seen it many times. I don't know it off the top of my head, but paraphrasing it's something along the lines of, it's the enjoy the ride quote for anybody that knows it. I can't, I haven't memorized it, but it goes along the lines like have that drink at 4 p.m. at a mostly empty bar, get the appetizer that sounds good that you normally wouldn't get. Just step outside your comfort zone. Do something a little different by yourself to really experience life and, get a different feel for what you're used to. Coming up here to get the gift card, I was kind of thinking to myself, they have a real good pretzel tray. It comes out with 6 pretzels, some of their homemade honey mustard and beer cheese. I like it. I've gotten it quite a few times when I've come up here. And I haven't had a drink in, a long time, but I was thinking, I was like, man, it's, 11:30 going on noon. I'm coming here. It's going to be mostly empty. I know that appetizer's real good. And I was thinking about that Bourdain quote. And I was like, you know what? Why not give it a try? Why not do it just to see? So I got a drink, a Crown and Coke, and those beer pretzels. And I sat and ate them. And just there were a few people. And they're mostly just the workers. Just kind of watching them, kind of how they all interacted with each other, watching the TVs on the screen and all that. It was a very nice experience. And then coming down here and immediately after smoking a pipe. And that's the kind of stuff I live for. Little moments like this. These are what make the days worthwhile. Along with many, many other things, of course. That's about all I got for you. This sense of imposter syndrome. I know it'll go away as I reach the goals and the heights that I plan on reaching. But it does make me wonder about how they felt watching other people achieve their dreams and how other people will feel about my videos watching me achieve their dreams. Just an interesting dynamic. That's all I got for you, and this pipe's about done. Like I said, I'll show you again. It's a Weber pipe. My mom got it for me. Let me get the thumbnail. Perfect. Weber pipe got in an estate sale for $6. There were a couple pipes there, but this was the only one I really thought was, attractive enough to pull the trigger on, even though it was only $6. The other ones I think were about the same price, but they were, some pipes I think look really cool. Other pipes I think look a little goofy. I don't really remember exactly what the other ones were, but I know they didn't have that appeal to them like this one did. But I got to start trying a little better to look for some of these pipes, because 90% of my pipes I have came from the Columbus Pipe Show. And I gotta change that up a bit to broaden my collection. And my cellar's starting to grow a little bit now. Starting to really pick up, and there are a ton of blends I have to still order, that way I can let sit for a little while and age and stuff like that. So there's there's room for improvement, but I know what it's going to look like here in some time. So that's about all I got for you. So we'll see you guys later. Hope you enjoyed this. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do whatever. You know the drill. You know how YouTube works. Take care.